Welcome to Romance Tales by Mandy. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Now, sit back, relax, and let's begin.
I had worked for this moment my entire life. The gleaming glass doors of Blackwood Enterprises towered above me, like the gates to a new future. The biggest corporation in the country. The kind of place where deals worth billions were made over morning coffee. Where power wasn't just worn in perfectly tailored suits. It pulsed through the very walls. And now I was stepping inside, armed with nothing but my ambition and the silent promise I had made to myself. Don't mess this up. The air was crisp, scented with expensive cologne and freshly brewed espresso. The kind of place where people walked with purpose, voices hushed but urgent. My heels clicked against the marble floors as I made my way to the internship briefing, nerves buzzing under my skin. I should have been focused. I should have been memorizing every detail, soaking in every opportunity. But then, I saw him, standing near the elevator, in a tailored black suit that fit his body like a second skin, was Noah Blackwood, CEO, Billionaire, a man who didn't just own the room, he commanded it. Tall, broad-shouldered, golden hair neatly styled, sharp jawline kissed by just a shadow of stubble. But it wasn't his looks that made my breath catch. It was his eyes. Cold, calculating, a shade of blue, so piercing it sent a shiver down my spine. He wasn't just looking at me, he was assessing me. As if, in a single glance, he already knew everything about me. As if he was deciding whether I was worth another second of his attention. And for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. I had seen his face 100 times in magazines, read about his ruthless business deals, heard whispers about how no one ever got close enough to truly know him. He was untouchable, a force, a man so far out of my world that even the thought of his gaze lingering on me felt impossible. Yet here he was, watching me. The air between us thickened. I felt it deep in my stomach. A pull, an awareness that shouldn't have been there. My heart pounded against my ribs, my fingers curling into my palm as I fought the sudden, irrational heat blooming beneath my skin. And then, just as quickly as it started, he turned away. No nod, no acknowledgement, nothing, as if I were nothing. The elevator doors closed behind him, swallowing his presence and leaving me standing there, breathless and unsettled. I should have shaken it off. I should have told myself it meant nothing, that I was just another intern, invisible in a sea of employees. But something inside me whispered that I had just stepped into something far bigger than I could ever imagine, and I had no idea if I was ready for it.
I don't waste time on distractions. Not in my work, not in my personal life. What little of it exists. Every decision I make is calculated, deliberate, efficient. My time is worth too much to be spent on anything that doesn't push Blackwood Enterprises forward. So, why the hell did I keep thinking about her? I saw Brigitte Johnson before she ever saw me. The moment she walked into my building, I noticed her. Not because she was one of the new interns. Those came and went, barely a blip on my radar, but because something about her pulled at me in a way I couldn't explain. Maybe it was her eyes. Honey-colored, deep, searching. The kind of eyes that made a man hesitate before looking away. She carried herself with quiet confidence, her steps quick and purposeful, her gaze sharp as she took in everything around her. She didn't fidget. She didn't shrink. Most people, especially interns, wilting under the weight of their own nervousness, trying too hard to impress or avoiding eye contact altogether. Not Brigitte. She looked up, straight at me. For a split second, I let my gaze hold hers. A mistake, because in that instant, something stirred inside me. Something inconvenient. Something dangerous. I turned away first, stepping into the elevator, forcing myself to focus on anything other than the way my body tensed from just looking at her. It was nothing. It had to be nothing. Except it wasn't. She was a distraction I shouldn't have. A problem I didn't need. And yet, I knew more about her than I should. I knew where she was from. I knew why she was here. I knew something she didn't. And that was why I had to stay away. Because Brigitte Johnson wasn't just another intern. She was the one person I was never supposed to want.
I wasn't supposed to be here. The Blackwood Enterprises terrace wasn't exactly off limits, but it was clear that interns weren't expected to wander up here. I had only wanted a moment to breathe, to escape the constant pressure of proving I deserved my place in this world of polished power and ruthless ambition. The air was cooler this high up, the city stretching below me in a sea of glittering lights. It was beautiful, breathtaking, until I turned and saw that I wasn't alone. Noah Blackwood, standing near the railing, his broad shoulders tense, one hand gripping a crystal glass filled with something dark. Whiskey, maybe. The sight of him in the dim evening glow sent a shiver down my spine. He never looked anything less than perfect. Black suit, crisp white shirt, the top button undone now. Just enough to reveal the barest glimpse of skin, golden hair slightly tousled by the breeze. A man carved from control, from restraint. But here like this, he looked different. More human. I should have left. Should have turned around. Pretended I never saw him. Instead, I lingered. And then he spoke.
You always sneak up on people like this?
His voice was smooth, but there's something rough beneath it. Like he wasn't used to being caught off guard. I swallowed. I didn't know anyone was up here. He turned then, slowly, and those impossibly blue eyes locked onto mine. It was like being pinned in place. An unspoken challenge simmering in the air between us. I had seen him before, of course. In meetings. In the halls. From across the office. Where he was always distant. Always untouchable. But here, under the soft glow of the city, there was something in his expression that I had never seen before. Curiosity. He was looking at me, not just through me, not just as another intern he'd forget by morning. And the way he looked, it sent a warmth curling through my stomach. An ache I wasn't prepared for. I should go, I murmured, though my feet refused to move. Something flickered across his face. Something unreadable. He took a slow sip of his drink, his gaze never leaving mine. Then, in a voice softer than I expected, he said,
Stay.
One word, one mistake, because I stayed. And in that moment, I knew, whatever this was, it wasn't nothing. I should have walked away. Noah Blackwood was the kind of man who didn't let people in. He was untouchable, unreachable, a figure carved from power and restraint. But standing there, in the soft glow of the city, I saw something else. Something beneath the perfectly controlled exterior, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to run from it or get closer. His eyes stayed on me, unreadable, intense. He took a slow sip of his drink, the amber liquid catching the light. When he set the glass down on the railing, his fingers lingered around the crystal rim, like he needed something to hold on to. I should have said something, filled the silence, but the moment was thick, electric, stretching between us like a taut wire.
You're not afraid of me.
He murmured, more to himself than to me. It wasn't a question. I swallowed hard. Should I be? The corner of his mouth twitched, almost like a smirk, but it never quite formed.
No.
He said. Then, after a pause,
But you should be careful.
he said. Then, after a pause,
Go home, Brigitte.
a dismissal, a wall slammed back into place. I exhaled, forcing myself to step back, to pretend I didn't feel the weight of whatever just passed between us. But as I turned to leave, I knew the truth. This wasn't over, and whatever was brewing between us, it was only just beginning.
The annual Blackwood Enterprises Gala, an event designed for networking, for shaking hands with politician investors and CEOs who move the world with a single signature. A night where every conversation is calculated, every smile practiced, and yet all of it, the luxury, the power, the noise, fades into the background the moment I see her. Brigitte Johnson. She stands near the bar, bathed in the golden light of the chandeliers, oblivious of the eyes she's drawing. But I notice the black dress she wears isn't loud. It doesn't scream for attention, and yet it demands it. A second skin fabric that curves over her body, smooth and effortless, with a low back that reveals just enough to make a man forget how to breathe. I should walk away. I should not be watching her like this. But I do.
You're staring, Blackwood.
Roman Lancaster, my business partner, stand beside me, swirling his scotch with a smirk. I don't react. She's an intern.
And that didn't answer my statement.
I exhale sharply, my jaw locking. Roman is right. I am staring, and I have no excuse for it. No reason for the way my chest tightens as she tilts her head back, laughing at something someone said. Too bright, too carefree, too damn tempting. I have rules, boundaries, but tonight, I don't feel like following them. And then she turns. Her gaze sweeps the crowd, unhurried, until it finds mine. The second our eyes meet, everything else disappears. Her breath catches. She stills, lips parting ever so slightly, as if she wasn't expecting to find me watching. I wonder if she knows what she looks like right now. Like a secret begging to be unraveled. Damn it. I don't decide to move toward her. My body does it for me. One step, then another. She doesn't look away. She waits. Her fingers grazing the stem of her champagne flute, her chest rising just a little faster. I can see it. She feels it too. I reach her just as the orchestra shifts, the melody dipping into something slow, something dark and sensual. A perfect excuse. A dangerous one. I hold out a hand. Brigitte. Her name on my lips is a sin. I can tell by the way her lashes flutter, the way she hesitates before placing her glass down. I should say something rational, something professional. But when her fingers slide into mine, soft, warm, hesitant but willing, I don't say anything at all. Instead, I pull her into me, and as we step onto the dance floor, pressing into a space too tight, too intimate, I know I've already lost. Her body aligns with mine, her warmth bleeding through the crisp fabric of my suit. I place my hand at the small of her back. Bare, smooth, a temptation I shouldn't be touching. But I do. Brigitte inhales, a subtle, sharp breath that she probably doesn't even realize she took. Good. She's affected too. The music sways around us, a slow, sultry rhythm. I lead, and she follows, her steps light, elegant. But there's something beneath it, something restless.
You shouldn't be dancing with me.
She murmurs, her voice low, teasing. I smirk, tilting my head slightly as I meet her gaze. Why not?
Because you don't do this.
She says simply,
You're Noah Blackwood, a man who stays in control, a man who doesn't touch.
I let that sit between us for a second, the tension thickening. Her meaning clear. She's right. I don't do this. I don't touch. I don't break rules. I don't let interns get under my skin. And yet, here she is. Here we are. My fingers pressed slightly against her back, guiding her closer, just enough to feel the warmth of her breath against my jaw. I do what I want. I murmur. Her lips part, just a fraction, her pupils dilating. She likes that answer. I shouldn't care. I shouldn't be leaning in, catching the faint scent of vanilla on her skin. Shouldn't be watching the way the chandelier light reflects in her honey-colored eyes. And yet, I do. Her breath shudders, like she can feel it too, this thing wrapping around us, tightening, pulling. Her hand tightens slightly on my shoulder, fingers flexing like she wants to hold on, or push away. I don't know which one I want her to do. The song begins to slow, fading, but I don't step back. Neither does she. For a moment, neither of us breathes. Then, she tilts her chin up, just enough for her lips to part near mine. Too close, too dangerous, too easy to close a gap. And I almost do. Almost. But then, a sharp voice cuts through the moment.
Noah.
A single word. My name. Brigitte tenses in my arms as we both turn to see Claudia Moreau, standing at the edge of the dance floor, watching us, watching me. The spell breaks. Brigitte blinks, like snapping out of a dream. I see it in her eyes. The hesitation, the reality crashing back in. I step away first. Because I have to. Because if I don't, I might not stop. She swallows hard, dropping her hands, taking a step back. But before she turns away, I catch one last thing. The way she looks at me. Like she's just as undone as I am. Like she knows this isn't over. Because it's not.
The office feels different today. The same polished floors. The same city skyline stretching beyond the massive windows. The same quiet hum of productivity. But something has changed. Or maybe I have. Yesterday, Noah Blackwood danced with me, held me, pulled me so close that I could feel the heat radiating from his body, the strength in his hands, the restrained hunger in his gaze. And then he let me go. Now I sit at my desk, staring at the glowing screen of my computer, pretending to be unaffected, pretending my heart isn't racing every time I hear the measured click of his shoes against the marble floor. He hasn't looked at me all morning. Not really, but I know he feels it too. I see it in the way his jaw clenches when I walk into the conference room, the way his fingers tighten around his pen during our morning briefing, the way his gaze lingers a fraction too long whenever I pass by. And then, it happens. A simple accident. I reach for a folder at the same time he does. Skin on skin, his fingers brush against mine, warm, strong, rough in a way that sends an immediate shock through my body. A breath catches in my throat. Electricity. I swear I hear his inhale, sharp and shallow. We both freeze. It's ridiculous. It's just a touch. But it's not. It's him. It's me. It's the unspoken thing that's been coiling between us. Getting tighter, hotter, impossible to ignore. I lift my eyes to his. And God, his gaze is dark, intense, starving. For a second, just a second, I think he's going to do something. Say something. His thumb moves slightly, the barest stroke against my skin, like he's memorizing the way I feel. I stop breathing. And then, he pulls away. Abrupt, cold, like the touch never happened.
No distractions.
He murmurs, his voice low, controlled, like he's reminding himself. Then he turns and walks away, leaving me standing there, fingers tingling, heart pounding, and one single thought echoing in my mind. Why does he always pull away at the last second?
Brigitte Johnson is a distraction I can't afford, and yet I can't stop wanting her. The way her honey-colored eyes linger on me, the way her breath hitches whenever I get too close, the way her body tenses, like she's waiting, hoping for me to finally break. I almost did in the office. When I touched her, her skin was soft, warm, so goddamn inviting. And for one reckless second, I wanted to keep my hand there. I wanted to test just how much she could take before she shivered beneath my touch. Instead, I pulled away, because I have to, because Brigitte doesn't know the truth. And if she did, she'd never look at me the same way again. I pace my office, running a hand to my hair, breathing deeply, trying to get her scent out of my system. But she's everywhere. In my head, under my skin. She's becoming an obsession. I glance at the locked drawer in my desk, the one holding a file with her name on it, a past she doesn't know, a connection she isn't aware of. And that's not the worst part. Because no matter how much I crave her, I can't have her. Not just because of the past. Not just because of the truth hidden in that file. But because I already belong to someone else. A promise made long ago. A deal I have no choice but to honor. I clench my jaw, forcing the thought away. It doesn't matter. Brigitte is off limits. Even if, right now, every single cell in my body is telling me to break every rule for just one taste of her.
The restaurant is nothing like the places I usually go to. Dim lighting, elegant chandeliers, waiters in crisp uniforms gliding silently between tables. Everything here screams exclusive. The kind of place where deals worth millions are sealed over a single glass of wine. The kind of place where men like Noah Blackwood belong. And the kind of place where I don't. I smooth my hands over my dress, suddenly hyper-aware of how much skin my choice of outfit reveals. It's nothing inappropriate, just a simple black dress, knee-length, with delicate straps over my shoulders. But the way Noah's piercing blue eyes drag over me when I arrive, it makes me feel bare.
I'm glad you could make it.
He says, his voice steady, unreadable, like this is nothing more than a business meeting. Like he's not staring at me like that. I swallow, forcing my lips into a polite smile as I slide into the seat across from him. Of course, you said you wanted to discuss a project, so here I am. Noah's fingers graze the rim of his glass. There's something in his gaze, something dark, something dangerous. He doesn't respond right away. Instead, he watches me, studies me. The air between us tightens. I shift in my seat, clearing my throat. So what's this project about? He leans back, one arm draped lazily over the back of his chair.
Do you always rush straight to business, Brigitte?
I blink. That's not the kind of response I expected.
Relax.
He murmurs, tilting his head.
Enjoy the evening. Have a drink.
My stomach clenches, because this isn't professional. Because I know, deep down, that there's no project. Noah Blackwood didn't invite me here for work. And yet, I don't get up. I stay. Because as much as I try to convince myself that this is wrong, that this crosses every imaginable line, I want to know what happens if I don't walk away.
Brigitte Johnson is a complication I didn't plan for. She's sitting across from me, swirling the stem of her wine glass between delicate fingers, her honey-colored eyes studying me with a mix of curiosity and something else. Something I don't want to name. The restaurant hums around us. Soft jazz and background. Quiet murmurs of the city's elite closing deals over rare steak and overpriced champagne. But in this moment, none of it matters. Only her. She tilts her head slightly, lips curling in amusement.
You don't do small talk, do you?
I arch a brow. You expected small talk? She laughs, soft, effortless, like I just told the funniest joke in the world.
Not really.
I lean back in my chair, watching her. The way her skin glows under the low lighting. The way her dress clings to her body in all the right places. The way she meets my gaze without hesitation. I should shut this down. Whatever this is, I should remind her and myself that she's my intern, that this is inappropriate, that I have no business wanting her the way I do. But then she bites her lip, eyes gleaming with mischief. And before I even realize it, I smile. It's faint, barely there. But I see the way her breath catches, the way her pupils dilate, like she's just seen something rare. Because she has. No one makes me smile. Not in this way. Not in a way that feels so uncontrolled. Brigitte shifts in her seat, studying me like she's trying to figure me out.
You should do that more often.
She murmurs, voice laced with something dangerously close to admiration. I roll my glass between my fingers, my smirk fading just slightly. Do what?
Smile.
I don't respond, because I can't. Because if I let myself smile around her, if I let myself feel around her, I might forget that she can never be mine.
The city lights blur outside the car window, neon reflections stretching across the rain-slicked streets. The hum of the engine is steady, almost soothing, but nothing about this moment feels calm. Not when Noah Blackwood is sitting beside me. Not when the air between us is thick, electric. He hasn't said much since we left the restaurant. Just the occasional glance, his jaw tight, hands gripping the wheel like he's fighting something unseen. Fighting me. My apartment building looms ahead. But I don't want this night to end. Not yet. Noah pulls up to the curb, his fingers flexing against the leather steering wheel. He doesn't turn to me, just stares straight ahead, his expression unreadable.
This was a mistake.
He says, voice rough. I swallow hard. The dinner. His throat works as he exhales slowly.
All of it.
A sharp sting settles in my chest, but I don't let it show. Instead, I shift slightly, turning in my seat to face him. Then why did you take me? He doesn't answer, and that's all the answer I need. Because I know. I see it in the way his fingers twitch, in the way his gaze flickers to my lips, just for a second, before snapping away. He wants me, and maybe I should be smart. Maybe I should thank him for the ride. Step out of the car, and pretend I don't feel this unbearable pull. But I don't. I reach out before I can stop myself, my fingers brushing over his hand, warm and strong against the gear shift. His entire body stiffens, but he doesn't move away. I don't know who closes the distance first. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's both of us, surrendering at the same time. But suddenly, my lips are on his and, God, heat. That's all I feel. His mouth is firm, demanding, tasting of whiskey and restraint unraveling at the seams. His hands find my waist, fingers digging in like he's trying to memorize the shape of me. The kiss is everything, rough and deep and desperate, like he's been starving for this. Like I've been starving for this. Then just as suddenly, he rips himself away. His breathing is ragged, his eyes dark and stormy as they meet mine.
This can't happen.
He rasps, but we both know the truth. It already has.
Morning sunlight filters through the towering glass windows of my office, casting long shadows across the sleek mahogany desk. The city hums below, a distant murmur I barely hear over the relentless pounding in my skull. Last night was a mistake. A devastating, intoxicating, addictive mistake. Brigitte Johnson isn't just another woman. She's off limits. A risk I can't afford. A temptation I can't survive. I've spent years mastering control, making decisions with ruthless precision. But the second her lips touched mine, I lost everything. And that cannot happen again. A sharp knock at my office door yanks me from my thoughts. I already know who it is before I even look up. Brigitte. She steps inside hesitantly, her honey-colored eyes searching mine. She looks wrecked, like she barely slept, like she's been overthinking this just as much as I have. I steel myself.
I need to talk to you.
She says softly, closing the door behind her. I don't let my eyes linger on the way her blouse clings to her body, or how her lips are still slightly swollen from last night. This isn't the time, I say, my voice colder than I intend. She flinches slightly, but doesn't back down.
So when is the time, Noah? Or were you planning on pretending it never happened?
I push back from my desk, standing to my full height. Distance. I need to create distance. That's exactly what I'm planning. Her lips part slightly, hurt flashing across her face.
You kiss me back.
I grip the edge of the desk, so tightly my knuckles go white. It was a mistake. Silence. Heavy, unbearable silence. I expect her to get angry, to demand an explanation. But she just watches me, her gaze flickering over my face like she's searching for something. And the worst part? She finds it. She sees right through me. She takes a slow step forward.
You're lying.
I exhale sharply, forcing my voice into something cruel, detached, fake. You don't belong here, Brigitte. The words cut like knives as I say them. If you were smart, you'd walk away now. Her brows furrow, confusion warring with the pain in her eyes.
What are you saying?
I hold her gaze, forcing myself to deliver the final blow. You should consider finding another internship. She sucks in a sharp breath, her throat working as she swallows. Then, finally, she nods.
Understood.
And just like that, she turns and walks out, leaving a hollow ache in her wake. I clench my jaw, my hands shaking with restraint. This is the right thing to do. then why does it feel like I just made the biggest mistake of my life?
The office feels different now. Colder. It's not the air conditioning or the towering glass walls that seem to trap the autumn chill. It's him, Noah Blackwood. For days, he's been distant, untouchable, like a ghost moving through the halls of his own empire. He doesn't look at me in meetings, doesn't acknowledge me when I pass him in the corridors. And when our eyes do meet by accident, because I sure as hell know he's trying to avoid it, there's nothing there. No flicker of recognition, no tension, no heat, just a wall of indifference. I should have expected this. I should have known. But the thing about knowing you're about to hit the ground, it doesn't make the fall hurt any less. 2 days ago, I had stood in his office, my fingers curling into fists at my sides. "You want me to look for another job?" I had asked, my voice sharper than I intended. He was behind his desk, his expression unreadable, his posture rigid, but I saw the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers curled subtly against the polished wood.
This isn't working.
His voice had been cool, detached.
It's for the best.
I had laughed bitterly. For the best? For who, Noah? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel like it's for the best for me. He had looked at me then, finally, just for a second, and in that second, I saw something crack behind those glacier blue eyes. Something raw, but it was gone just as fast.
You'll have recommendations. I'll make sure you get offers.
He had said, his voice steady again. Offers? I had taken a step forward, hating how my voice broke. That's what you think this is about? My career? His silence had been the worst part, because I had wanted him to fight, to tell me I was wrong, that he was pushing me away for reasons he couldn't explain, but that it wasn't because he didn't want me. Instead, he had just stood there, cold, silent, and that had hurt more than anything.
Brigitte.
I blink, snapping out of my thoughts as Jessica, another in turn, waves a hand in front of my face.
You okay? You've been zoning out all morning.
I force a smile. I'm fine. She doesn't buy it, but she lets it go. We're in the marketing department, preparing notes for a meeting Noah is about to lead. The glass-walled conference room is already filling up. Executives in sharp suits and sleek dresses, taking their places around the long table. And then he enters. Noah moves through the room like he owns it, because technically he does. He's in a tailored charcoal suit today. Crisp white shirt underneath, no tie. Just the open collar that exposes the sharp cut of his throat. I hate that I notice. I hate that even now, after days of rejection, my body still reacts to him. He barely glances at me as he sits at the head of the table. I should be used to it by now. I'm not. The meeting starts, and I try my best to focus on the slides, on the numbers, on anything but the man sitting across the table from me. But it's impossible, because for weeks, he wasn't just Noah Blackwood, CEO. He was something else. Something dangerous. Something magnetic. Something that made my skin burn with a single touch. And now, he's nothing. I steal a glance at him. His jaw is tight. His expression unreadable as he flips through reports, nodding at some executives' comments. This is what he wanted, isn't it? Distance. Well, he's got it. But if that's true, why does he look like he's suffering just as much as I am?
I thought I could run from it. From her. But the past has a way of catching up with you when you least expect it. Brigitte doesn't know. She can't know. She thinks I hired her by chance. That she's just another intern in my company. That our paths crossing was a coincidence. But it wasn't. I made sure she was here. I needed her here. And now I'm trapped in something I don't know how to escape. Because wanting her is one thing. Losing control around her is another. But the worst part? She isn't mine to have. Years ago, it was a cold night. New York was alive with golden streetlights, the hum of late-night laughter, and music drifting from the cafes. But I wasn't in a place of warmth or beauty. I was standing outside a hospital. My hands were clenched into fists, my heart pounding with a kind of fear I wasn't used to. The kind of fear that made you feel powerless, helpless. Inside, a man lay in critical condition. He wasn't supposed to matter to me. He was a stranger, a name I barely knew, but he had saved my life. And I had watched as his own was slipping away because of it. That night, I had learned his name, Pierre Johnson, and I had learned that he had a daughter, a little girl who had lost more than she should have. Brigitte. I never saw her then, only heard about her, only knew that she had been left behind in a world that had taken too much from her. And I had made a promise to myself. I would watch over her, from a distance, from the shadows. She would never know my name, never know that her father had once saved me, never know that I owed him everything. I lean against my desk, gripping the edge so tightly my knuckles turn white. She's out there, in my company, working for me, getting closer, and it's killing me, because I wasn't supposed to want her. I wasn't supposed to let this happen. She's not just some woman who stumbled into my life. She's his daughter, and if she ever finds out the truth, if she ever discovers why I sought her out, she'll hate me. Because what happened to Pierre Johnson that night? That wasn't just an accident. It was because of me. But that isn't the only reason I need to stay away from her. There's something else. Something darker. Something I haven't told her. I'm promised to another woman. A deal was made long ago. A marriage arranged before I ever knew what I truly wanted. Claudia Moreau, the daughter of one of the most powerful families in France. A union that was meant to secure business, power, and legacy. A union that was never about love. And now, as I sit here, my jaw clenched, my pulse erratic, I realize the cruel irony of it all.
I should have known. The signs were there. The way he watched me when he thought I wasn't looking. The way he always seemed to be holding something back. The way his touch burned like a secret waiting to unravel. But I never expected this. I stand frozen, my pulse roaring in my ears as I stare down at the open file on his desk. My name, my father's name, pictures, documents, a detailed record of my life, where I studied, where I lived, every step I had taken to get here. This isn't just an accident. Noah Blackwood knew who I was before I ever stepped foot in his company, and he's been hiding it from me all this time. My breath catches in my throat as my hands shake. I flip through the pages, each one feeling like a betrayal that cuts deeper than the last. Then I see it. A hospital report. My father's name listed under critical condition. The date stares back at me like a ghost from the past. The night he never came home. The night he died. My stomach twists. Noah was there. He was connected to my father's death. The office door opens behind me, and I feel his presence before I even turn around. I don't recognize my own voice when I speak. What the hell is this? Silence. Then, slowly, he steps forward. His face is unreadable, his usual mask of control in place. But his eyes tell a different story. Regret. Guilt. Something else I can't quite name.
Brigitte.
Don't. I cut him off, my voice sharp. Don't say my name like that. Not when you've been lying to me this whole time. He exhales, his fingers flexing like he wants to reach for me.
It's not what you think.
I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been keeping tabs on me for years. That you chose me for this job. That you've been watching me like some kind of puppet master. His jaw tightens.
I wasn't watching you. I was protecting you.
The words hit me like a slap. Protecting me? From what, Noah? Silence again. And that's when I know. Whatever it is he's not saying. Whatever truth is still buried beneath his perfect, controlled exterior. He thinks it will break me. But nothing could break me more than this. I take a shaky step back, shaking my head. I trusted you. My voice cracks. I let myself feel something for you. His gaze darkens at that, his lips parting as if he's about to say something, to stop me, to fix this. But then he does something I don't expect. He takes a deep breath, as if preparing himself for battle, and then...
There's more.
My heart clenches. More? I whisper. He looks at me, his expression unreadable.
I'm engaged.
The floor vanishes beneath me. I hear the words, but they don't make sense. My mind scrambles, trying to piece together something that shouldn't exist. Engaged. To someone else. Noah watches the realization dawn on me, his hands clenching into fists at his sides.
It was arranged years ago, before I even met you. It was a deal one I had no say in.
I stare at him, something in my chest fracturing. And you never thought to tell me? His jaw ticks.
I was going to end it.
I let out a hollow laugh. When? After you got everything you wanted? After you finished whatever this? I gesture between us, my voice trembling. This was... He steps forward. I step back. And that's all it takes to feel the space between us stretch into something that might never be mended. Noah Blackwood isn't just hiding secrets. He is a secret, and I was a fool for thinking I ever knew him at all.
She won't answer my calls. She won't respond to my messages. And every time I step into my office, I feel the ghost of her presence lingering in the air, like a scent I can't erase, a shadow I can't chase away. Brigitte is gone. Not physically. No. She's still here, still working in this building. But she's gone from me. And that realization settles in my chest like a slow, merciless burn. I was a fool to think I could keep her at a distance. A bigger fool to think I could control the damage when the truth came out. But nothing prepared me for the way she looked at me that night. Like I was the one thing in the world she wished she'd never touched. Like I was a mistake she regretted with every breath in her body. I can't fucking stand it. I push away from my desk, shoving a hand through my hair as frustration coils hot and tight in my gut. I've spent years mastering control, playing a game by my rules, never letting anyone close enough to matter. And now one woman, her, has managed to undo everything with a single look. I step out of my office, my strides long and purposeful as I make my way down the hall. I don't stop, don't hesitate. I know exactly where she is. When I reach her office, I don't bother knocking. I push the door open, and there she is, standing by the window, arms crossed, looking like she's ready to throw me off a fucking building.
Get out.
Her voice is ice, but I don't move. She turns to face me fully, her expression unreadable. If I didn't know her so well, I might think she was calm, indifferent, but I do know her. I see the tension in her shoulders, the way her fingers tighten around her arms, the slight tremor in her breath. She's hurt because of me. Brigitte.
Don't.
She snaps, eyes blazing.
You don't get to stand there and act like you care.
My jaw tightens. You think I don't? She lets out a bitter laugh, shaking her head.
I don't know what to think anymore. But I know one thing. You're a liar, Noah. And I was stupid enough to believe in you.
The words land like a punch. I should have expected them. I should have been ready for this. But hearing them from her, it's like ripping open a wound that never had a chance to heal. I never lied to you. I say, my voice low, steady. She scoffs.
Are you serious? You hid the truth from me. That's the same damn thing.
I take a step closer. She doesn't move away, but she doesn't soften either. I didn't tell you because I was trying to protect you. I say, my voice rough. I knew how much it would hurt you, and I...
And what?
She interrupts, eyes flashing.
You thought you had the right to decide that for me?
I clench my jaw. I thought I could fix it before it destroyed us. She exhales sharply, looking away like she can't stand to see me anymore. And fuck, that shouldn't hurt as much as it does.
There is no us, Noah.
She says, her voice quieter now. I step even closer. There was... She swallows, her throat moving.
Maybe, but not anymore.
For a long moment, neither of us speaks. The air between us is thick, charged with too many things left unsaid. Then she straightens her shoulders.
I'm leaving the company.
She says, The words hit like ice. I knew this was coming. And yet, the thought of her walking away, of her leaving my world for good, sparks something dark inside me. Possessiveness, desperation, a bone-deep refusal to let her go. No. She blinks, startled by my response.
No?
I take another step, closing the distance between us. This time, she does take a step back until her spine meets a glass of the window. Her breath hitches. I brace one hand beside her head, my body caging hers in.
You don't get to make that decision for me.
She says, her voice trembling slightly. I lower my head, my lips just inches from hers. Then, don't make this decision for me. She swallows, her pulse fluttering at the base of her throat.
Noah.
I reach out, fingers brushing over her jaw, tilting her face up to mine. Her skin is warm, her breathing uneven. And fuck, she's so close. I could kiss her. I could take her right here, press her against a glass, and remind her that whatever this is between us, it's not over. But then she blinks, and something shifts in her eyes. Resolve. She steps to the side, slipping away from my grasp. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I've lost something I might never get back. She reaches for the door, then hesitates, just for a second. Then, without looking at me, she says the words that seal my fate.
I deserve more than this.
And then she's gone.
I should hate him. I should hate the way he lied to me, the way he kept secrets, the way he made me feel like I was something real to him, only to rip it away. But hate is supposed to be cold, and every time Noah Blackwood is near me, all I feel is heat. The office is nearly empty when I step into the hallway, my heels clicking against the marble floor. The only sound is the low hum of the city beyond the massive glass windows. I told myself I'd stay late to finish my last report before turning in my resignation. A clean break, a smart decision. Then why does it feel like I'm suffocating? Why does every breath feel heavier? Knowing that soon I'll walk away from him for good, I reach the elevator, pressing the button with a little too much force. I need to get out of here, away from this building, away from him. But the second the doors slide open, my stomach twists. Because he's there. Noah, standing inside, his hands shoved into his pockets, his tie slightly loosened, like he's been running his fingers through it. His jaw is tight, his eyes shadowed. I freeze. So does he. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then his gaze drops, slowly, deliberately, trailing down the length of me before flicking back up. Something shifts in his expression. Something dark.
Going down.
His voice is rough, edged with something I can't quite place. I should turn around. I should wait for the next elevator. But instead, I step inside. The doors slide shut. The air is thick, too thick, the tension pressing into my skin. Noah doesn't move, doesn't look at me, but I feel him. Every inch of space between us crackles like a live wire. A pull I don't want to acknowledge. Then, the elevator jerks to a stop. The lights flicker, and before I can process what's happening, we're stuck. Great. Just great. I exhale sharply, jabbing the emergency button, but Noah's voice stops me.
Give a second.
I whirl toward him, my pulse spiking. Are you serious? We're stuck, Noah. He leans against the wall, too calm.
It happens sometimes after hours. It'll restart in a minute.
I cross my arms, my frustration bleeding into something sharper. Something dangerous. Right, because I should totally trust you, after everything.
Brigitte.
Just my name, but it's enough to shut me up. Because the way he says it, low, rough, like he feels it, sends a shiver down my spine. I turn away, my breathing uneven. I can't do this.
Do what?
I squeeze my eyes shut. Be near you. Talk to you. Breathe the same air as you. He's silent for a second. Then,
I don't believe you.
I spin around, my heart pounding. Excuse me? His gaze is heavy, pinning me in place. dragging me under.
You don't hate me, Brigitte.
I let out a sharp laugh, stepping forward. Too close. Are you delusional? Because I think I have every reason to hate you. He doesn't back away. If anything, he leans in. Just a fraction. Just enough for me to catch the faint scent of whiskey and something darker.
But you don't.
He murmurs. I open my mouth to snap at him, to tell him exactly how wrong he is. But then he moves. His hand brushes my waist. Light, barely there, but it's enough to steal the breath from my lungs. I should push him away. I should slap him, yell at him, remind him that he's the last person I want touching me. But my body betrays me. A sharp inhale, a heat curling low in my stomach. His fingers press in just slightly, just enough to feel the fabric of my dress bunch beneath his grip. I hate you, I whisper, but my voice trembles. Noah smirks. Smirks.
Say it again.
His other hand lifts, tracing a slow path up my arm, over my shoulder. A feather-light touch, but it sets me on fire. I should stop this. I need to stop this. But when his fingers graze my jaw, tilting my face up to his, my lips part. And when his breath brushes against mine, my knees nearly give out. Because I don't hate him. I want him, and that might be even worse.
The second the elevator jerks back to life, Brigitte shoves away from me. Her breath is ragged, her pupils blown wide, but she doesn't say a word. Not when the doors slide open. Not when she storms down the hallway, her heels clicking like gunshots against the marble. I should let her go. I should take the fucking hint. Instead, I follow. Her apartment is only a few blocks from here. I know, because I've driven her home before. And when she steps outside into the cool night, her pace quick, I match her stride. She doesn't acknowledge me, doesn't even look at me, but she knows I'm there. I see it in the way her fingers tighten around her purse, the way her shoulders rise just slightly with every step. She wants to run, but she also wants to chase her. So I do. When we reach her building, she finally stops, spins around, fire in her eyes, a storm raging beneath the surface.
Why are you here, Noah?
Her voice is sharp, but there's something underneath it, something shaky. I step closer. She doesn't move away. You know why. She lets out a humorless laugh, crossing her arms.
Do I?
I tilt my head, studying her, the way her chest rises and falls too quickly, the way she bites the inside of her cheek, like she's trying to hold something back. You didn't stop me, I murmur. Her eyes snap to mine.
In the elevator?
I nod. Her jaw clenches.
I should have.
But you didn't. She lets out a slow breath.
That doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't it? I take another step. Because I think it means everything, Brigitte. She doesn't answer. Instead, she turns, fumble with her keys, trying to unlock her door with hands that aren't steady. I reach past her, covering her hand with mine. The key stills in the lock. Her breath hitches, and for a long moment, neither of us moves. Then she exhales, turns the key, pushes the door open, and walks inside. I should leave. I should walk away. But when she stops just inside the threshold, when she slowly turns to look at me, something inside me snaps. The door barely clicks shut before I have her pinned against it. Her gasp is swallowed by my mouth, my hands already sliding into her hair, tugging, tilting her head just the way I want. I kiss her like I'm starving, like I've been waiting for this moment for too damn long. Because I have. She melts against me, her fingers fisting in my shirt, pulling me closer. There's no hesitation now, no more fighting it, no more pretending. I lift her, and she wraps herself around me, her body fitting against mine like it was made for this. For me, I carry her through the dimly lit apartment, barely seeing where I'm going, because I don't care. All I care about is the way she tastes, the way she feels, the way she wants me just as much as I want her. Tonight, there are no secrets. No lies, no past, no future. Just us. And for the first time in my life, that's all I need.
The morning sun spills through the curtains of my bedroom, casting golden streaks across the sheets. Noah Blackwood is still here, in my bed. His body is tangled with mine, his warmth pressing against my back, his breath fanning over the curve of my shoulder. One of his arms is draped over my waist, heavy and possessive, holding me against him, as if even in sleep. He refuses to let me go, and maybe that should scare me. Maybe I should feel suffocated, but I don't. I feel safe. Even now, after everything, I can't pretend I don't want him. The ache in my muscles is proof of how much I do. Last night, Noah had always been intense, controlled, a man who moved through the world with ruthless precision, never letting anything or anyone affect him. But last night, he lost control. His lips had found mine in the dark, his kiss not just demanding, but desperate, as if some invisible force had finally snapped inside him, shattering every wall he'd ever built. And then his hands had been on me, rough and relentless, tearing down my defenses one by one. He had kissed me like he needed to, like he had no choice. And when he'd press me back against the mattress, when he'd whisper my name in that low, hungry voice, I had felt it, too. That pull between us, that heat, that undeniable force that had always been there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. And God did it explode. Now lying here in the morning light, my skin still tingling from his touch. I know there's no going back, but I also know I can't stay. I shift, trying to slip out from under his arm, but the second I move, his grip tightens. A firm, unmistakable claim. Then his voice, low, rough, still edged with sleep.
You're not leaving me.
A shiver runs through me at the sound of it. I place a hand on his arm, ignoring the way his skin feels so warm, so solid under my fingertips. Noah.
Stop.
He murmurs, pressing a slow, lingering kiss to my shoulder. The heat of his lips sends a pulse of desire straight through me. And just like that, my resolve starts to slip. I squeeze my eyes shut. We shouldn't.
Say that again.
He breathes, his mouth tracing a path up my neck.
Say it like you mean it.
I try. I really do. But when his teeth scrape the delicate skin just beneath my ear, when his hand slides lower, his touch possessive, I can't hold back the soft gasp that escapes my lips. And he hears it. I feel his smirk against my skin.
That's what I thought.
In one swift movement, he flips me onto my back, pinning me beneath him. I should push him away. I should tell him we need to stop. But then I look up, and the way he's looking at me steals whatever words I might have said. His blue eyes are dark with something raw, something undeniable. He wants me, not just in the way a man wants a woman, but in the way a man who never lets himself want anything suddenly does. And that's dangerous, because Noah Blackwood doesn't ask. He doesn't beg, but right now he's asking.
Stay.
He murmurs, his thumb stroking over my cheek. A single word, a plea, and I know without a doubt that if I leave now, there's no going back. Noah Blackwood never lets people in, but he let me in, and if I walk away, I might break both of us.
I barely made it to my car before yanking out my phone. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I had to fix this. Brigitte's face was burned into my mind. Those honey-colored eyes filled with pain. The way her lips had trembled when she told me to leave. I had done so many things wrong. But this was my last chance. The call rang twice before Claudia Moreau's voice filled the line, smooth and elegant as always.
Noah.
I can't marry you. I didn't hesitate. Didn't soften the words. I'll give you whatever you want. Money, shares in the company. Whatever it takes. But I can't go through with it. A beat of silence. Then, to my surprise, soft laughter.
Oh, Noah.
Claudia murmured.
I was wondering when you'd finally say it.
My brow furrowed. What?
Did you really think I wanted to marry you? I agreed because it was convenient, because it's what our families expected. But the truth? I've spent my whole life being a Moreau, being the perfect daughter, the perfect businesswoman. And I'm tired. I don't want a company. I don't want boardrooms and power plays.
Then what do you want?
To travel. To be free.
I exhaled, running a hand through my hair. So this whole time,
I was waiting for one of us to break first. Looks like it was you.
I let out a dry chuckle, shaking my head. I suppose it was.
Go after her, Noah.
Claudia said, softer now.
Before it's too late.
I didn't hesitate. I turned the car around, my heart pounding in my chest as I sped back toward Brigitte's apartment. I didn't have a plan, didn't have the perfect words lined up. All I knew was that I couldn't lose her. When she opened the door, her expression hardened.
Noah.
I'm not leaving. I cut her off, stepping inside before she could stop me. Not this time. Her lips parted in surprise, but I didn't give her time to push me away. I called Claudia. My voice was firm, unwavering. It's over. The engagement, the deal, everything. I should have done it sooner, but I was a coward. Brigitte stared at me, those golden eyes shimmering under the dim apartment light. But she didn't say a word. I took a deep breath, knowing this was the hardest part, the part one had been avoiding, afraid of losing her forever because of the truth. I stepped closer to her, my voice softer now, almost pleading. Brigitte, there's something I've been hiding from you, something I should have told you a long time ago. Her eyes flickered with confusion, but she didn't interrupt. I was involved in your father's accident, I said, my voice thick with the weight of my confession. I wasn't the one behind the wheel, but I was there. He saved my life. He pushed me out of the way, took the hit instead of me. I should have been the one to die. He gave me a second chance, and I couldn't even face you with the truth. Brigitte's breath hitched, her hand trembling as she took a step back.
What? You were involved?
I didn't cause the accident. I quickly clarified, my gaze urgent. But I was there, and I made a promise to myself that I would protect you, that I wouldn't let you go through life without someone to care for you. I failed you by keeping that from you. Her eyes were wide, heartache flashing in those honey-colored depths.
You should have told me. Why didn't you?
I was afraid you'd hate me. I whispered, my voice barely audible. I didn't want to be the man who hurt you, even if I never meant to. But the truth is, I've been a coward. I kept it from you for so long, and I regret it every single day. Brigitte was silent for a long moment, her mind racing, trying to understand everything I had just confessed. I could see the inner turmoil in her eyes, the war between wanting to understand and wanting to walk away from me. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper.
I don't know if I can forgive you.
The words hit me hard, but I didn't flinch. I was ready to face the consequences of my actions. I don't expect you to, I said softly, stepping closer, my hand reaching for hers. But I need you to understand. I can't lose you. I won't lose you. I've spent my life running from things that matter, but I can't run from you. Not now. Not ever. Her hand trembled as it met mine, hesitant but not pulling away.
How do you expect me to trust you again, Noah? After everything?
I don't expect you to trust me right away, I said, my voice raw. I just want a chance to show you that I'm not the man I was. I'll do whatever it takes. For you, for us. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them away, taking a steadying breath.
I don't want to be hurt again.
She whispered. I reached up, gently cupping her face, my thumb tracing her cheek. I swear I will never hurt you again. I'll spend every day making it up to you. Just please don't walk away. For a moment, Brigitte just stared at me, searching my face for the truth in my words. And then, slowly, her lips parted, and she whispered the words I had been desperate to hear.
Then don't leave.
And I didn't.
The first time Noah Blackwood kissed me, it was a mistake. The second time, it was a promise. And now, as I stand here, wrapped in his arms, I know this one is forever. His lips move against mine, slow and deep. A kiss that speaks of everything we've been through. Every fight, every tear, every whispered confession in the dark. His hands cradle my face like I'm something fragile. But there's nothing fragile about the way my body melts into his. The way my fingers tangle in his blonde hair, pulling him closer. Closer. Always closer.
I love you.
He murmurs against my lips, and my heart clenches because this time I believe him. This time I don't run. I let myself sink into the moment, into him. The man who broke me, who put me back together, who showed up at my door when I needed him the most. He is fire and restraint, passion and tenderness, everything I never expected and everything I can't live without. He lifts me effortlessly, carrying me to the bed, his weight pressing me into the soft mattress as his mouth moves to my throat. My collarbone, the sensitive spot just below my ear that makes me shiver. I arch into him, my breath coming in soft gasps, and he smiles against my skin.
You drive me insane, you know that?
His voice is husky, rough with desire. I tilt my head back, letting him trail kisses lower, his hands learning me all over again. Then don't ever let me go. A promise, a plea, and Noah never breaks his promises. The morning light filters through the curtains. His arm is draped over my waist, his fingers lazily tracing patterns on my skin. I watch him for a moment, his sharp jawline softened by sleep, the steady rise and fall of his chest, the way his lips part slightly as he breathes. I never thought I'd see him like this. Relaxed, unburdened. Mine. He stirs, blue eyes fluttering open, and when he sees me, he smiles, a rare, breathtaking smile that does something dangerous to my heart.
Morning.
He rasps, voice thick with sleep. Morning. I brush my fingers through his blonde hair, loving the way he leans into my touch. He exhales, his expression turning serious.
Are you happy?
The question is quiet, but there's weight behind it. Because Noah Blackwood is a man who has spent his life taking, dominating, controlling, but with me, he only wants to give. I press a kiss to his bare shoulder, feeling the steady beat of his heart beneath my lips. Yes, his grip tightens around me, pulling me against him.
Then that's all that matters.
I close my eyes, breathing him in, knowing that, for the first time in my life, I am exactly where I belong.
A year ago, I almost lost her. A year ago, I let my fear, my mistakes, my past keep me from the one thing I wanted more than anything. But now, Brigitte Johnson is standing across the room, bathed in the warm glow of champagne lights, her golden hair cascading in soft waves over her bare shoulders. She's laughing, her honey-colored eyes shining, as she clinks glasses with one of our investors. Not mine, hers, because this night isn't about me. It's about her. Brigitte didn't just finish her internship. She built something of her own. A company that started as an idea, a dream, a fire in her chest that wouldn't die no matter how many times she tried to convince herself it wasn't possible. And tonight, Johnson & Company is officially in business. A partner to my firm. An equal. The woman I once thought needed my protection now stands on her own, powerful and unstoppable. And fuck if it doesn't make me want her even more. I watch her from across the room, my fingers curling around the glass in my hand, as she tilts her head back and laughs at something someone says. The sound hits me like a punch to the chest. God, she's beautiful. And she's mine. She catches me staring, her lips curving into a knowing smile before she excuses herself in the conversation and makes her way toward me.
You're brooding.
She teases, slipping her hand under my jacket, fingers tracing the fabric of my shirt. I don't brood, I murmur. setting my drink down so I can pull her against me. Her body fits against mine like it was made for me, soft and warm, her scent intoxicating. She presses a hand to my chest, her touch setting my skin on fire even to the layers of fabric.
Liar.
She whispers, tilting her head up.
You've been watching me all night.
Hard not to when you look like this. My fingers skim the curve of her hip, and she shivers. Her lips part slightly, her breathing uneven.
Noah, we're in the middle of a party.
And
people are watching.
she whispers, but she doesn't step away. I smirk, brushing my lips against her ear. Let them. She laughs, the sound vibrating through me. But before she can say anything else, I take her hand and lead her through the crowd, past the gilded tables and the clinking glasses, out onto the private terrace where the city stretches out below us. The cool night air wraps around us, but Brigitte barely notices. She's looking at me the way she always does, like she sees straight through to the parts of me no one else gets to touch. I need to tell you something. I say, my voice quieter now. Her smile falters, a flicker of concern crossing her face.
What is it?
I take a deep breath. A year ago, I almost lost you, and I told myself I'd never let that happen again, that I'd do whatever it took to be the man you deserve. Her brows draw together.
Noah.
I'm not done. My fingers tighten around hers, my heart hammering against my ribs. I watched you fight for this. I watched you build something incredible with your own hands, and I couldn't be prouder. But, Brigitte, none of it means anything if I don't get to build my future with you. Her lips part, realization dawning in those golden eyes. I reach into my pocket, my pulse pounding as I drop down on one knee. Her breath catches. I flip open the box, revealing the ring inside, a simple but elegant diamond, set in gold. A ring that's been burning a hole in my pocket for months, waiting for this moment. Marry me. My voice is steady, but my throat is tight. Be my wife, Brigitte. Be my forever. She exhales sharply, hands trembling as she covers her mouth. For the first time since I met her, she's speechless. And then, with a choked laugh, she nods.
Yes.
She breathes, her voice breaking.
God, yes.
I stand, sliding the ring onto her finger before pulling her into me, capturing her mouth in a kiss that is nothing short of desperate. She clings to me, her body molding to mine as if she's afraid to let go, as if she ever could. The city roars beneath us, the celebration continuing inside, but in this moment, there is only us. Brigitte Johnson said yes, and nothing in this world will ever matter more.